So in the hospitality world, we all know that guest communication is absolutely everything. But what if the way you're trying to be personal is actually the very thing holding your business back? Let's dive into how you can automate your communication without losing that human touch. In fact, you might just make it even better.
This is the single biggest fear we hear from venue owners, and it makes total sense. You've poured your heart and soul into building a business on real, personal connections. The idea of some machine taking over feels like it could rip the soul out of your brand. But this fear, it often leads you right into a trap.
Because you're so worried about sounding robotic, you keep everything manual. You or your team are sitting there personally typing out every single email. You're answering the same exact questions on WhatsApp over and over again. You're repeating directions, package details, day in and day out. You think you're being personal, but what's really happening is you're creating a mountain of admin work.
And here's the big aha moment. All that manual work, it isn't truly personal. It's repetitive. And what's the one thing automation is absolutely brilliant at? You guessed it, handling repetition. Just shifting your perspective on this one little thing is the key to unlocking a much, much better way of working.
All right, so let's really dig into this manual trap. Let's pull back the curtain and see where all your team's valuable time and energy is actually going.
I want you to just think for a second about your last 30 or so guest conversations. Seriously, how many of them involved you just sending the same brochure, the same PDF with package details? How many times did you answer the same question about decor rules or catering or your max capacity? I'm willing to bet you'll find that a huge chunk of it, probably around 80%, is just sending the same information on repeat. The truly personal part, that's actually just a tiny little slice of the pie.
And look, this manual system, it has real-world costs. Replies get delayed because someone's just busy with another task. Different staff members give slightly different answers, and suddenly you've got inconsistency. Your team gets pulled away from important, focused work just to answer a simple question they've answered 100 times. And those crucial follow-ups, poof, they get forgotten in the chaos. Now, this isn't a knock on your staff. They're probably amazing. This is a failure of the system.
Okay, but here's the good news. There is a better way. And it's all based on a really simple but incredibly powerful principle that can help you deliver service that's more personal than ever before.
It all comes down to this one simple ratio, 80-20. Just burn this into your brain. This is the mental model that is going to change everything about how you approach guest communication.
So here's the principle in a nutshell. The goal is to automate that 80% of communication, all the stuff that's repeated every single day. By doing that, you free up your team's time, their energy, their brain power, and this lets them pour all of their focus into that valuable 20%. The unique questions, building real rapport, the moments that actually need a human touch.
Okay, so theory is one thing, but how do you actually do this? How can you put this into practice, like right now? Well, here are 4 quick wins that pretty much any venue can implement immediately. First up, your first response to any new inquiry. It should be instant and automated. Thank them, give them the key info, tell them what's next. Second, stop typing out answers to the same questions. Create one beautiful, clear FAQ page and direct people there. Third, viewing confirmations. The date, the time, the directions, what they should expect, that should all go out automatically. And fourth, follow-ups. Gentle, professional reminders should be automated so no potential guest ever falls through the cracks. Trust me, each of these makes you look more professional, not less.
Okay, so let's go all the way back to that first fear we talked about. Does all of this automation actually feel robotic to your guests? The answer, and I can say this with confidence, is a huge no. And here's why. What we have here is a classic disconnect. Your fear is that guests really value a message that was typed out by hand. But the reality, from the guest perspective, they value speed, they value clarity, and they value ease. And let's be honest, a quick, clear, automated response delivers on all 3 of those things way better than a delayed, manually typed one ever could. And think about what this does for your staff. When you take all that repetitive stuff off their plate, you free them up to do the work that actually moves the needle. They can focus on giving incredible jaw-dropping tours. They can build genuine relationships. They have the mental space to tackle really unique, complex questions. They can create unforgettable experiences for your guests on site. That is where the real personal touch happens.
All right, let's tie all this together with the big takeaway. The shift in mindset is actually really simple, but it's also profound. It's about moving from a state of being constantly repetitive to being truly personal. Let's be crystal clear. You don't lose the personal touch by automating the repetitive parts of your communication.
No, you lose that personal touch when your team is so buried under manual, repetitive tasks that they're too slow, too stressed, and too overwhelmed to give guests the focused human attention that they actually deserve. That is the real danger right there.
So at the end of the day, this is not about replacing your amazing people. It's about empowering them. Automation doesn't remove people from the process.
It removes the repetition from the process. It takes the robotic tasks away from the humans so the humans can be, well, more human.
So I'll just leave you with this one question to think about for your own venue. Take an honest look at where your team's hours are going. Is your time truly being spent being personal, or is it just being spent being repetitive? Thanks for tuning in.